Saturday. Just to be clear, that's one coin, so-called, now worth $60,000. The surge is mainly fueled by a growing number of institutional companies embracing this virtual currency. It's also thought to be driven by the approval of President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus package in the U.S. It's feared the pandemic relief bill will push inflation higher, in effect devalue the U.S. dollar, and the digital currency is seen as a good hedge against all of that. But critics warn cryptocurrencies are a bubble on track to burst. The money asset has a record of price swings, falling sharply several times. Bitcoin has risen by almost 1,000% over the past 12 months. The value of Bitcoin in circulation has exceeded $1 trillion for the second time this year. New York Mellon Bank, MasterCard, and other big financial companies have ventured into cryptocurrencies. Elon Musk's Tesla car manufacturer bought around $1.5 billion in Bitcoin and accepts payments in the virtual currency. Other smaller digital currencies are also getting a boost. Prices for Ethereum, Litecoin, and Stellar have also soared this year.
Revelations 13 verse 16, and he caused or forced all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. 17, and that no man might buy or sell, that no man might buy or sell, save he had the mark.
Rising demand for technology-related products since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic has made for a favorable environment for the semiconductor industry. Over the past year, people have grown to depend on remote working, virtual learning, gaming and online shopping as integral parts of their lives. Hence, technological products empowered by advanced chipsets have seen heavy demand. Besides consumer electronics, chip makers are also witnessing a boom in demand from automotive vehicles, cloud computing, and 5G network upgrades. Because COVID-19 disruptions have brought about a shortage of semiconductor chips, the Semiconductor Industry Association, SIA, has urged President Biden to include funding for chip manufacturing and research in his proposed economic recovery plan. NVIDIA Inc. NVDA, one of the leading semiconductor companies, has benefited significantly from these secular tailwinds. It has a dominant presence in the GPU space, and its graphic chips have seen heightened demand for gaming, self-driving vehicles, and data centers. NVDA's data center revenue for the third quarter ended September 30th, 2020.
Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Rekakadash. Now, looking at the evidence of how these dragons is setting up their infrastructure for this chip, you see the Biden administration is working in cahoots with the rest of them. And you have a chip shortage because these dragons is outsourcing the chip mining, the Bitcoin mining, the cryptocurrency mining situation. That's what they call it, because they're building these supercomputers at their house so they can help the transactions go through with Bitcoin and the digital dollar. And so this is how they getting ready to counteract the drop of the dollar. And so, like the guy said, one crypto Bitcoin is worth $60,000 because that's how bad the dollar is doing. So the worse the dollar gets, the more the cryptocurrency Bitcoin go up in value. So the value of the crypto digital dollar is depending on the condition of the dollar, because the dollar is in trouble and it's falling and ain't worth nothing. Now, buying a stock in this NVIDIA, who produces the pretty much the microchip or the semiconductors to make the microchip, it's a $600 just for one share, because this thing is gonna be it's gonna be the foundation of buying and selling, and they gonna be getting all kind of people to invest in their company so they can get the dollar or get the digital dollar. And people who know about stocks and bonds and investing, they're gonna invest in these things to get a return. And so when you look at who's doing most of the producing of the microchip, you got Asia. They producing 70% because they have the semiconductors. They got that on lock. Europe and America, the beast, the two-horned beast, they barely is participating, but they gonna be running the whole show, because Asia is just a shadow government ruled by the Europe and America, and they want to make you think that Europe ain't got a part in the situation when they are running the whole operation. Those elite bankers over there in Europe, they running everything, but they want to make it look like they not even a factor. They neglecting the whole thing. No, they running the whole thing, and they outsourcing and telling their workers to go do their work for them. Now, all of this goes back to Deuteronomy chapter 15, verse 16 and 17. And that's what Revelation 13 is pretty much talking about. It says, and it shall be, if he say unto thee, talking about your servant or your slave, I will not go away from thee, because he loveth thee and thine house, because he is well with thee. Verse 17, then thou shalt take an awl, and thrust it through his ear unto the door, and he shall be thy servant forever, and also unto thy maid servant thou shalt do likewise. So in verse 16 it say, and it shall be, if he say unto thee, I will not go away from thee. You see, that's what these blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans is gonna say when it comes to these this Babylon the Great and these Edomites. They want to be with these people. That's why I say they go down into Egypt, because the Egypt is a spiritual Egypt ran by the Edomites. But the Edomites love Egypt and trying to mimic Egypt. So that's why it's spiritually Egypt, but it's really ran by these Edomites, the so-called white man. And so he say they not gonna want to go away from these people. And they're gonna say, because he loveth thee. You see, they love Esau more than they love the Most High, who telling them, do not receive this slavery, this forever slavery thing. You only supposed to love me. You see, that's what the Most High is saying. But these 2/3 Negroes is gonna choose gonna choose Esau over the Most High. Isaiah chapter 30, verse, let's see here, verse 2. Isaiah 30 and 2 say, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. The shadow of Egypt is America, spiritually Egypt. When you go to Revelation 11, it tells you that this great city, America and Europe, is spiritually Egypt and Sodom. It says in Revelation 11 verse 8, it says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. And so that's why these individuals is going to tell their slave master, and like in Deuteronomy 15:16, and it shall be, if he say unto thee, I will not go away from thee, because he loveth thee and your thine house. He said, so he loved Esau, and he loved Esau's house, and he is well with thee. You see, and so that was a slave voluntarily saying, I want to be your slave forever, because in 17 say, he shall be thy servant forever. So you got to voluntarily take this microchip, this Bitcoin receiver into your hand or into your forehead. You see, he's going to force it on the masses of the people, but the masses of the people is going to say they can't live without him. They love him and his house. You see, and the elect is not gonna choose Esau and his house. They're gonna choose the Yahushua, Yahweh, and the kingdom. See, that's what's gonna happen at the end of the day. But this is how they're starting to develop their mark and their instrument of slavery. Let's get that real quick. Now, when you look at the Hebrew word that's there for the AUL in the King James Bible, or the R, it's a boring instrument. And that's what they're going to do with that chip. They're going to bore it into your skin, your hand, or in your forehead to your your nervous system. And that's how they're going to have these people like the Matrix. They're going to have them inside of the system. You remember in the Matrix, they had the guy thing in the back of their neck. And he had to pull, when they took him out the Matrix, he had to pull that thing out the back of his neck to disconnect from the Matrix. And so that's what these dragons is going to do with their technology. They're going to hook the peoples up to their technology. Same thing with when they put a chip in Total Recall, and so Arnold Schwarzenegger pulled it out of his nose because they had it in his head. And then you got all these other movies where they show the people with tracking device microchips in their hands, like what it was, the Denzel Washington movie, Mandarin Candidate, where they had put the chip in his back. He had to take the chip out his back. So the chip is how they're gonna track people's money, and they're going to track their whole person and everything they do. And it's going to be where these individuals going to volunteer. It's going to be a volunteer everlasting slavery, like Deuteronomy 15:17. But I'm going to leave it there. All praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honors to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. The kingdom is at hand. Shalom.